lineup that we're going to hear from as we go through our hour. I'm David Johnson. I was a co-founder of Pickleball Central 18 years ago. So I've been around and seen a lot in the pickleball world. I was lucky enough to monetize my business a couple years ago when we sold to Dundon Capital. I've been retired and now I do consulting and write a newsletter on the business of pickleball. And we're going to talk with these guys a bit about their experience in pickleball in terms of their business, how they've monetized it, what they've seen, etc. I'm going to share a couple things as we go along about me, but mostly these guys will be talking and telling you what they're doing, and we'll have time for questions at the end. One of the things I wanted to talk to you folks, if you're looking at having a business and looking at monetizing it, is the importance of partnerships. And some of these guys might talk about that, but I want to encourage you to have that as a major component. We now have like 130 companies here that are exhibiting. A bunch of those could potentially be partners for you. So keep that in mind as you're going through building your business and your strategies on how you're going to do that. I'm going to start by having each panelist briefly give a description of what their business is in pickleball, and then we'll go into some specific questions for each of them. So if you want to take that mic.
All right. So hello, everybody. And first of all, thank you for all being here and just listening to us speak and just putting that commitment and effort into being here and asking questions and being here at PickleCon. So my name is Good Crazy Drew, or Drew Danzeisen. I'm the founder of the Pickleball House, but also doing a double whammy here, account executive for Pickle, which is the portable pickleball surfaces that you're playing on here, the 2 championship courts, and then the tournament courts over there. But what the Pickleball House is a private pickleball and networking event that we bring to major events in sports and entertainment. So we launched in 2023, 2 weeks before Super Bowl, and hosted an event during Super Bowl weekend. We did Miami F1 and then the US Open. So bringing pickleball to major events as a networking event and a sport where people are shaking a lot of hands and taking a lot of market share from other sports that have been like that, from say golf and tennis. But we're here to promote pickleball and keep that going, and we all have a passion for the sport. So thank you for having us on here. Thank you to PickleCon for having us here, and looking forward to hearing from the rest of the panelists as well.
Great. Sounds like a fun job going to all those big events.
It is.
Great. Tyson.
All right. I'm Tyson Apostol, and I am probably the first real, I don't want to, toot my own horn, big personality to get into the sport. Around like 2019, 2020, I'd been playing a lot of pickleball, and I've been on reality TV almost too many times to count. And generally my business was public speaking and appearances after you go on TV until everyone forgets about you. And during COVID, you couldn't do that. So my business kind of took a turn, and I was looking at what I wanted to do, and I'd been playing so much pickleball and loved it, and I was like, started doing my research, and I was like, the pros have 200 followers on Instagram. There's nobody promoting this sport. I love it. I want to be a part of it. I want to share it. And I went to my agent and I said, I want to be the pickleball guy. He laughed at me and said he didn't want to take part in that. So I knew of a sports agent. I called her and I said, I want to get into pickleball. And she said, I'm not wasting my time. So I called a friend who represented poker players, and I said, will you represent me as we make our way into pickleball? Because I love it. I want to share the sport. I think that there's the pro level, and there's all these people trying to capture a serious audience. I want to capture the recreational audience and share the sport with my already existing audience so that we can get new players. And he said, let's try. Our first phone call ever in the industry was with Gamma, and we have been with them for about 4 years since that phone call, and have just been building from there. So our approach has been be an ambassador to the sport, show how fun and easy it is to get involved, and share the brands that we love. And we've been going 4 years strong and are not stopping. So that's pretty much, I guess I'm my own brand, but I represent other brands.
Right. Great. Again, sounds like fun. Did you talk to your agent, Doug, before you?
Talk to your agent?
Is that my wife? Yeah, I talked to her before we did anything. Yeah, no. For sure. So my name's Doug Sigmund. I represent Court Reserve. We're club management software, kind of the biggest player in the space on that side. What I would offer today probably is mostly about what David talked about earlier, which is partnership, sponsorship, all that fun stuff. I don't know who's in the seats today as far as like what the audience makeup looks like and what kind of value we can add. I've probably seen the inside and the back workings of more pickleball clubs and private clubs than probably anybody. I've probably helped 400, 500, 600 set up as far as like their software goes, so understand the business side of that. For us, a lot of it is partnership and working with other people inside the sport to try to grow the sport, because a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's kind of our aim at Court Reserve, as well as far as software goes, is for the sport to grow, and the more the sport grows, the more opportunity is for everybody. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. The COO there, I'm the Chief Operating Officer. The two founders I'm real close friends with. We've been friends for probably 15 years. Court Reserve's been around for about 8 years, and so I've been working with them for quite a while, and that's kind of my background. So looking forward to any questions that you guys have and any insight I can provide.
You're not going to tell them that that's fun?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like fun being an operations guy.
Every city I travel to, I look and see if we have a club there, and then I go and I meet the club so I can help them and then select.
That's fun, going to all the clubs, but yeah.
All right, my stuff is really fun. I've been in the restaurant industry for about 30 years. So all the toys that you see at fast food restaurant chains, we make the Happy Meal toys. We do the injection molding, the rotocasting. About 12 years ago, I started a company working with carbon fiber, making car parts for McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferrari, a lot of carbon fiber. 3 years ago, I got introduced to pickleball, and boy, was it fun. So we had the plastics, we had the carbon fiber, and we were like, let's make paddles. So we got involved in that industry that way, and God, we never stopped. I never stopped playing either. I play about 10 hours a week, but spend more time developing items, and it has just been phenomenal. And we have, as they mentioned, great partners in the industry, and I think that's what has helped us excel and just want to continue to grow and just do better. So I'll pass on the mic.
He's a good pickleball player too, so don't wager too much money with him. You think he's not, but he's sneaky and he's good.
Angel's awesome, by the way. So Brad Clarke, CEO of Chicken and Pickle. Our journey started 8 years ago, actually more like 10 years ago now, when our founder, Dave Johnson, not this Dave Johnson, but a different Dave Johnson,
I wish.
went to visit his friend in Phoenix, Arizona, and he'd only been there a few weeks, but he had 50 friends. And he said, hey, you got to come out. I'm playing this game of pickleball. It's the funnest thing ever. So he went and he saw it, and he saw the social impact, the social fabric that it creates, because you instantly have friends just through the competition. And unlike most sports, as you guys know, pickleball is approachable by so many abilities, ages. It's the most inclusive sports that's out there. I'm a terrible golf player. If any of you are golf players, you would have no fun playing golf with me. But I could probably run you around a little bit on the pickleball courts, but not because I'd practice, but the game is just able to be picked up that quickly. So he had this wild idea of somehow combining the restaurant and pickleball, and if we could do that in the right way, somehow we might have something. And so 8 years ago, we had our first facility in North Kansas City, Missouri, and we've grown ever since. And so we've been blessed to be on this pickleball journey, meet so many incredible people, but it's the impact of the game that it makes, and it's our form of entertainment, backyard entertainment. As you guys probably know, we're mostly a restaurant that also has pickleball, and we're leaning into the community side of that and the impacts that it can make along the way. So it's been an incredible journey. As you guys don't know, just a quick plug for him. Every rental paddle that we have at Chicken and Pickle, this guy makes. It's an incredible product, and he's been a great partner for us along the way. So.
Well, that sounds like fun too. I mean, good food and pickleball, right? Are you guys getting a trend here? Huh?
It is fun. We do have 10 facilities operating right now. We're getting ready to open our 11th in Henderson, Nevada, which we're super excited about. We have 2 more under construction and another 5 or 6 in our portfolio that we're excited that we've either announced or will be announcing. So we're growing. So it is a lot of fun. And also tiring at the same time.
By a show of hands, who's been to Chicken and Pickle so far? If you get it, if you get a chance to go, I'm going to tell a story about Brad and Chicken and Pickle in a minute. But first, I want to speak to you guys, the audience. We're here at a panel talking about monetizing pickleball. That seems to be really trendy, monetizing pickleball. What does it mean? It's jargon for how do you make money from pickleball. So you guys are here to learn about how to make money from pickleball, and we're here to help you guys learn that and share with each other about our knowledge of making money from pickleball. The first thing is you've got to identify what's the problem. And how do you identify that? Doing research. So if you look at the industry, these guys have all done research and said, what is the problem that I can address to make money from pickleball? Dave Johnson, 18 years ago, was way ahead of the curve and saw a need for all of the equipment. And the story of his success and the growth of Pickleball Central is phenomenal. I was in partnership marketing for my career, 25 years doing partnerships. And my mantra is 1 + 1 is 3. Whenever you can partner with someone, it's always going to pay off in the end for both of you if it's an authentic partnership. So I retired from my business in partnership marketing about 10 years ago, went back to graduate school and got a master's degree of hotel administration. My final paper was written on the implications of pickleball for the hospitality industry. So I literally did my research on pickleball, and I profiled in the paper Chicken and Pickle. They were way ahead of the curve as well. When they opened their first, there was the first, as far as I know, the first operation that had pickleball and food, and you've seen all of the others copycats that have come behind you. So my business, doing the research on hospitality, is that I own the largest pickleball travel club in the world, and we do pickleball travel and resort services. So we identified the resort space as one that had great opportunity to increase the quality of the programming of having pickleball. A lot of resorts had tennis or basketball courts that were going unused. And during our research for that paper, we saw that resorts could better monetize that space if they converted the tennis or basketball courts into pickleball courts. Why? Because the demographic fits exactly with what they want. They wanted active adult Americans with free time and disposable income. Hello, guess what pickleball players are? It's the exact same. So as it relates to monetizing, that's what we do, and that's what each one of the panelists has identified ways to make money from pickleball. And we hope we can share our learnings with you over the course of this panel.
Great. Thank you, Dan. And again, talk about fun. I follow him on LinkedIn and Facebook. And, you know, if he's not in some resort in the Caribbean, he's over in Spain checking out the pickleball scene and doing business. So just an aside on my personal journey to pickleball, my wife and I had basically left our positions in the real world and had started 2 businesses. One was selling pickleball equipment online, and the other was trying to drag the funeral industry onto the internet. We had to make a choice at one point. I'm glad we chose pickleball because it's been a fun ride. And the sport continues to grow. There's tons of opportunities. We're learning about new business models all the time. You know, something like what Drew is doing, I would never have dreamed 5 years ago that, you know, that would be coming along. And I think it's going to be cool. I think he's got a lot of opportunities going forward with his particular business. I'm going to go through each panelist and just spend a couple minutes talking a little bit more about it. Doug, since you are hogging the mic, I'll start with you.
Great. We'll start with the person who's no fun. Excellent.
So
let's go.
Do you know him?
Me too.
I'll pay him later.
So you've been working with Tim and Ashley, we started actually one of the first indoor pickleball clubs in Seattle back when Court Reserve was just coming out, and we were an early member, and I was talking to Tim on the phone on a regular basis about, how do we do this, or what feature can we get added, etc. That's obviously been one of the things that has made you guys successful is you've identified in the market what the need is, and you've transitioned as new clubs come in, new opportunities come about. You're integrating now, I think, with food and beverage. You're integrating with video. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things you guys are doing. Talk to us about your secret sauce for Court Reserve. What is it that makes you guys special?
There's a lot of things, right? That's a big question, open-ended question. Thanks for it. So I can just talk about what I want to talk about now.
What's the big one?
So I will say that pickleball is an evolving sport, right? It's not a mature sport. It's not a sport that everybody's the same. Every city you go to, every club you go to is not ran the same way. Plays not exactly the same. We went to the local park here last night and played. And where I live, if you go to the local park, you have to paddle up, and it's all free play. And here it was like we just camped on a court for an hour and 2 hours and just played with the four of us, right? So it's a little bit different everywhere, and that's part of the challenge when it comes to software is how do you create a software that's so customizable for everybody? A lot of that's through partnership, which you just talked about. We're partnering with people who do, Save My Play that does video replay. So you can play it on a court, you go tap a button, and it saves that clip depending on how long they have it set up to save. So you can record all of your matches. You can catch cool stuff. If you did something really cool on the court, you go tap a button. That's saved. We're integrating all of that inside Court Reserve as well. So there's a lot of that. Secret sauce, though, for the company and monetizing it is the same as it is for everybody that runs a business. It's the people who work inside the business and having a good work culture and having those people care about the people they're serving, right? Like that's the secret sauce. When it comes to building a business that's not just yourself, if it's a company, it's about culture, treating your employees right, having them care about and treat your customers right. And that doesn't have a whole lot to do with monetizing pickleball. It just has a lot to do with building a good business, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'd say secret sauce is that, and the fact that we were first when it came to pickleball, right? Like you're starting a club, you're looking for software a long time ago before there were very many pickleball clubs, and you ended up in our lap because we were first on that as well, and that's allowed us a lot of time to grow over the last 8 years.
Well, it certainly helped us at Pickleball Central that we were one of the first e-commerce sites out there, right?
100%.
And I kind of joke about it. There were a couple other ones, but we were the first one that actually answered the phone during the day.
Yeah.
Because they all did it as a hobby business, and you'd get their voice recorder. They'd come home from work and then have to return the phone call. And we were open during the day and took calls. The other secret sauce we had at Pickleball Central was our customer service. We really believed in going above and beyond in customer service, being treated like we wanted to be treated. So, for example, every order goes out, the invoice is signed by the person that packs it with a thank you. So we give that personal touch to it. We once had a tournament going on, but there was a tournament going on down in California, and they didn't have enough balls. And this was early enough that you couldn't go to Dick's or something and buy pickleballs. So I flew down on Saturday morning with 200 and some balls so that they could continue their tournament, and flew back that night.
Yeah.
That's, taking care of your customer breeds more customers, breeds word of mouth, and was really important to us in growing a fairly substantial business. And a lot of it was our customer service.
100%. Yeah,
So great.
We're customer service. All of our customer service is in the U.S., which differentiates us from a lot of the other softwares. And, the two things I would say is be first or be better. Right, Tyson was just talking about getting into pickleball and nobody else was in the space. Be first or be better, and it's a lot easier to be first. So if you're trying to monetize pickleball, have an idea that people want that nobody else has monetized yet.
It's best to be both, right?
It's best to be
first. And
first.
be best.
It is, but it's easier to be first than it is to compete with somebody who's been in the space for 5-6 years and has already honed their bit. Like that takes a lot more work, and not that you should be shy of the work, but
absolutely.
Be better or be first, be both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Angel, you were pretty early in your niche, right? I mean, you guys aren't out competing with Selkirk in the consumer market. You've identified a niche that you're sort of first in corporate sales of pickleball equipment, where you work with somebody like Chicken and Pickle and provide them their product that they need customized in their particular case. Was that a particular decision you guys made?
One of the decisions I think that helped us excel was building a quality product. I think we knew that if we build a good product, the profit would come. We were just concerned about coming up with a good product with a solid base, and we really believe that if we did that from the start, that everything else will fall into place. And I think that's key for just about any business is if you do what's right from the beginning, it's going to be a lot easier down the road. You're not going to have to put a bunch of Band-Aids and fix things later. Just start with a quality product from the beginning, and it'll be a lot better. We also had an advantage. We had an automotive background with carbon fiber, which is a key component right now on performance paddles. So we really saw an opportunity on using a high quality product and onto an item that was considered a promotional product. So I think it was very difficult for other brands to compete with that, with the knowledge that we had. We had 20 plus years of experience with polypropylene and the core of a paddle. So we just built a good product from the beginning, and the profit came afterwards.
Okay.
And we're building a lot of new products and initiatives with the same frame of mind. Let's just build a good product in hopes that people notice, and then everything else will fall into place.
And another first you might want to check out down at their booth is their new compostable ball.
Yeah, we have
cool.
we just introduced a 100% compostable ball. Under compostable conditions, it degrades in 100 days. Not 20 years, not 10 years. There's no low density polyethylene. It is a 100% compostable. Cornstarch, avocado peel, all the stuff that people don't think you can use, we've managed to put it together, and it works. So it's a lot of things happening. It's still a fairly new industry.
Yep,
so a lot of people have all these ideas. Don't be shy about trying to do something with it. There's people here that are willing to help. Everybody here in this industry is willing to propel you to make something out of it. Don't be shy about bringing it up to somebody.
Brett, go next. So Chicken and Pickle, he might not tell you this, but I want to tell you, Chicken and Pickle is in the pickleball industry is probably the largest revenue producer out there, with the exception of Amazon selling products. I did a case study for my newsletter on them. I estimate maybe $150 million a year. They have 10 facilities. They do about $15 million per facility. He could tell me I'm wrong, but that's the number I'm sticking with as an outsider on what I see. They build their own facilities. In the early days, it may be $10 million they could get a facility up. After the pandemic, today, you're talking $20, $25 million to do it. 80% of their revenue, approximately, again by my estimate, comes from food and beverage. But that still means they're doing $3 million outside of food and beverage. So that would be pickleball and merch and that kind of stuff. So even at $3 million, they're doing $30 million in pickleball stuff. That puts them right up there with the big companies. So they've done a great job over there. And I wanted, Brad, my first question is Chicken and Pickle a pickleball business with food and beverage, or a food and beverage business with pickleball?
That's a good question. And number one, it's impressive, your numbers, too, from the outside observer. I would characterize Chicken and Pickle as a community amenity, a community enhancement that offers food and beverage, that our form of family-friendly entertainment is anchored by pickleball. That's how I would describe us. We do so much more than just pickleball. Clearly, we're a restaurant. Food and beverage is at the core. But pickleball is our heart and soul. It's a good way to say it. We believe that people being active, being connected, and true human connection is the future. And that's frankly contradictory to a lot of what you're seeing with AI and automation. I hate to break it to you guys, but in the next 5 years, you're going to walk into a restaurant and there will not be a human being working there. It will be completely automated. You'll push some buttons and your food will come out, and that will be your experience. We're purposely going against the grain, and we'll forever lean into pickleball as that opportunity for families, friends, youngsters, multi-generational, right? This sport is so approachable from that end. For us, you mentioned parks. We compete against free every day. In our industry, we compete against free every day because communities are asking for more pickleball courts. They don't want more tennis courts, and they definitely don't want more basketball courts, but they really, every one of them want more pickleball courts. So I would encourage all of you to think about how to make the experience match what you're offering, because your competition is coming in the form of free. If it isn't right now, it's going to be. And so the impressiveness of the guest experience has to match what you're offering. Otherwise, people will just naturally find alternatives that are out there. And so we use that in anchoring food and beverage, leaning into private events, and frankly, leaning into relationships. I cannot underscore what everyone has mentioned. The connections that you make in each of your individual facilities, the word of mouth component of that matters. At the end of the day, people want to do business with people that they like, right? People want to do business with people that they like. So be a reason for people to want to come back to your facility, and that's what we try to do every single day.
Right, so Angel's a great example of that for you. If there's people in the audience that say, hey, I've got an idea on how I could partner with Chicken and Pickle, are you guys open to that? I mean, I'm sure you get inundated with partnership requests, but what would be the best way for somebody that has something to approach Chicken and Pickle and maybe succeed? I mean, what's the secret to coming to you guys?
Yeah, we have a variety of outlets, and depending upon the particular sector, 100% we want to talk to everybody. Doesn't mean we'll always cut a deal, but the industry's very small, and we're committed to seeing the industry grow. I got enough gray hair on my face for me to say that when I was growing up as a kiddo, racquetball was a thing. I don't even know where you would play racquetball nowadays. And so I darn sure don't want to see that happen to pickleball. And so as the sport advances and as more and more people play it, it is truly a lifetime sport. I played football growing up. I can't play football anymore, although I would, joke to myself that I still could at a high level, but I couldn't. But we can continue to play pickleball and we can continue to be active. So the more that the industry advances, the more accessible the sport becomes, the more pickleball courts become available. It's just a good thing in the long run. There is a chance it can get oversaturated in certain markets, so that's a very real thing. But local partners, local groups, that's what we're all about. We say our hearts are local, and it really is those local partnerships that we can forge to help, again, grow the industry, grow small businesses. It means a ton to us, so absolutely.
A couple other numbers I'm going to throw at you that I think might be true. Some of their locations do 2,500 events a year. So think of how many different groups they're bringing in and introducing to pickleball and having a good time and eating good food. Their facilities bring in 500,000 to 700,000 people, each facility, over the course of the year, right? And they've done this in 6 years, 7 years. They've got 10 going on 20 facilities. It's amazing. They're smart guys. They're in big finance. It's interesting what they're doing there. They've got some big name investors in the company. So really, really exciting what they do. And, they're somebody to look to as an example, as are the rest of these guys, but their scale is so interesting.
And I would encourage you, we try to get outside of our four walls as much as we think about our inside of our four walls. We are very active in the community in a variety of ways, and pickleball is an approachable conversation to be had, whether that be at schools, whether that be philanthropic people, whether that be people trying to raise money. We get involved in all of those causes because space is a premium. It's difficult for people to find places that are big enough to accommodate, and many of you have pickleball courts that allow that to be a reality for folks, to raise money, to get involved, to be active. It's challenging to find family-friendly entertainment. Pickleball is just that. So I would encourage you to lean into the community part of it outside of your four walls as much as we do.
Great, good example. Did you want to?
I have a question for Brad. So he didn't get the secret sauce question, and it is chicken and pickle, and I know they have chicken sandwiches. So is it aioli? Is it mayo? What's the secret sauce in those sandwiches over there?
Well, I don't know if there's a more sophisticated than aioli. Listen, that's the other thing that we try to really lean into is the food and the food quality. There are 2 items on our menu that are frozen, and we just added a third. Everything else is literally made from scratch. And we do that purposely for community population, community health. It's a big part of just being active and providing good food and good ingredients to mirror what we're trying to do on the pickleball side of things. But tater tots are frozen, sweet potato fries are frozen, and then our fried pickles. Fried pickles, real quick, last story for me because I got to shut up. We had an individual kitchen person spending 50 hours a day dipping individual pickles. So we ended up getting those made with our recipe. But
I gotta say something. You're talking about their secret sauce, right? All right. I do business with them because I like their food, okay? The chicken is just phenomenal. So.
Okay, pass it down to Dan. So Dan,
Sorry, Drew, I have an answer. The secret sauce is the pickleball. The pickleball is what we're all here for, and the pickle in the chicken and the pickle is all about the pickle because that's the hook that brings the people in. You may have great food, but it's the pickleball that makes you guys the community center. Sorry, Dave, I had to answer that as well.
So you literally wrote the book on pickleball in the hospitality industry. What's the state of pickleball and travel today? What does that look like as a business and a business opportunity?
Thanks. I'm going to be a politician for a second and not answer your question because I want to do a quick recap. What did we learn so far? Do your research. Look at what's available out there. Once you do your research, identify the problem and identify the solution to the problem. Then if you can be first, be first. If you're not first, do it best. Then listen to your customer. Deliver extra value. Sign that. Personalize what you're doing. Iterate what you're doing as well. Creating the new ball, it's an iteration. Creating yourself new every day to create the best product and service that you can. Personalize it, get to know your customer. Those are the best ways to monetize pickleball. So I just wanted to do a quick mental recap of that.
Great recap halfway through the panel, so there may be some things to add. But,
No, definitely.
Great recap.
So that's to this point. Is in terms of pickleball travel, what we do is we looked at the resort space and we saw all these people traveling to go do things and do different activities. We saw it as a family place and a place where people could do things with their family. So you're on vacation, you're with your family. What is the ultimate opportunity that whether you're 8 or 80 or whatever you're 9 or 90, whatever it is, that you can play pickleball while on vacation. So it's the perfect amenity to add to an all-inclusive resort. What we say to resorts is if you have any flat available space, whether it's a basketball court, a tennis court, a parking lot, a convention center, and you don't add pickleball, you're not making a right business decision. Because why? It's easy to learn, it's fun, it's available for the whole family, and it makes the experience for the resort a better experience. We built our pickleball travel club that is free and will always be free as a mechanism to get people to be able to travel with their family on discounted travel, to go together as a group to resorts that have minimum standards. What I see in the future is the resort industry is going to wake up. They're not awake yet. They need to hear from the pickleball players. We are starting to have leverage. My pickleball club is the largest in the world. We use that as a mechanism to speak with resorts and say, if you want to reach our players, you have to increase the quality of your standards. We're not going to bring our own nets and we're not going to tape lines on your tennis courts. If you want us to come, you need to increase the standards. So I see resorts slowly getting it because the power of the consumer is demanding, give us a better playing experience. When we decide where we want to go on vacation because they have pickleball, they're going to start waking up. And when we show the power of group trips, coming to those resorts, and the money we can make them, they're going to wake up even more. So I see one of the greatest growth opportunities for pickleball, besides the youth space, is literally the resort space. And when these big resorts start to get it and really implement it, and we get Tyson to come on some of our group trips and lead them, then we're going to really be able to help the resort industry grow and have more pickleball players learn to play at the resort and enjoy playing with their families.
So if somebody's going to take a trip outside the U.S. to play pickleball, what resort would you tell them to go to? I mean, does somebody stand out in your mind?
We have pre-certified 35 resorts, and we
Okay.
have a booking engine on the front page of our website, superlativepickleball.net. People can do their own research for whatever resort that they want to go to. But then what we do is we customize group trips for clubs. So pickleball clubs, there are over 2,000 pickleball clubs in the United States alone, and average is about 100 members per club. So we do group trips for clubs as well. So if people want to do their research, come to our website, use our booking engine, get exclusive discounts, or bring a group, and we'll be able to book that for them.
Well, working with clubs, I mean, another partnering opportunity, right?
Well, so just kind of going to that whole monetizing pickleball thing, what we did is we did our research. We looked at, you think about religious groups that go to Jerusalem and Rome. They did group trips, and these are specialized group trips. We're replicating that. You have 2,000 pickleball clubs. Why not get other club members and go on a group trip to one of those resorts? So it's just about listening, looking, and seeing what you can do for the audience.
Great. Thank you. Pass the mic down, and we'll talk about influence and influencers.
All right. I guess I'm your guy.
Tyson, so how does a brand today find an influencer if they want to take advantage? I mean, if they want to work with you or somebody prettier or something.
Yeah, those are your options. Funny or pretty. I'm one of the rare both.
How do you find an influencer, and how do you start talking to them and figure out what it's going to cost and so forth?
I mean, it depends on what scale you're at, because a lot of it is dependent on the audience that they can reach and their personality and their level in the sport and their professionalism in influencing in particular. And then what your budget is for that. And so you measure all of those things and you see what you want. And then a lot of influencers now, if you search pickleball in Instagram or what TikTok or whatever channel, people will pop up because the most popular videos will pop up at the top. And then for me, from my side as an influencer, I'm looking for brands that match my lifestyle already. So I'm not going out and being inauthentic. I just incorporate the brands that I love into my lifestyle because it's natural. So sunglasses, glasses in general, Tifosi, they're here. I wear glasses all the time. Hats, Imperial hats. I wear hats all the time. I'm a walking billboard for these companies, Gamma, pickleball paddles, Fila shoes, and it's stuff I would all use anyways and choose to use. But with influencing, you're getting an actor, a content creator, an editor, and their audience all wrapped into one. So now you're not hiring an actor, a cameraman, someone to write a script, someone to share it, someone to make sure it gets seen. All of that's wrapped into one. And so, so I would say from a brand's perspective, you want an influencer or a representative that also is aligned with your philosophy as a brand, and that you go from there.
So your contract with Gamma, $1 million a year, you wear their T-shirt and that's it, or do you do other things for them?
I play exclusively with Gamma. I have not held another brand in my hand in 4 years.
Okay.
So anytime you see me on a pickleball court or in a video playing pickleball, it is always Gamma all the time. Sunglasses the same. You will not see me in another pair of sunglasses. All of that is exclusive, and we purposely go for 12-month minimum contracts.
Okay.
A lot of influencers will do a one-off, so they're using a paddle 1 week, another paddle the next week. We don't like that model because we want brand loyalty, but we also want to be synonymous with the brands we represent. and them synonymous with us. So when you hear my name, I want you to also think Gamma paddles. Or when you're walking through Target and you see Gamma paddles, you can say, oh, that's the one Tyson uses on Instagram, and you're drawn to it. And we've purposely created that model so that we can synergize off of all of our brands. So when Fila shares something on Instagram, Gamma's in it, Tifosi's in it, Imperial's in it, and they're all a network.
Yeah.
And so, and that a lot of that for me has come from, I was a pro cyclist a lifetime ago, and I saw how those contracts worked and how teams would work with brands there. And so we just took that format as a professional athlete and applied it to being an influencer, mostly on social media. I come to events like this to represent my brands as well.
You do, okay.
That's it. But basically our goal is to incorporate our brands into my lifestyle as a person and as a personality, and create synergy within all of the brands, and also be synonymous with our brands in the long run.
Okay. If somebody out there says, I like this guy, I want him to, wear my socks.
Yeah.
How do they approach you? How do they find out about you? And I mean, do they have to go through your agent or your multiple agents? Or
I only have one now.
Okay.
I've always only had one. I fired the others when they were unwilling to get into pickleball.
Smart.
And I also had to then get into pickleball out of spite to those two agents
Right.
that chose not to represent. But if you reach out to me on Instagram, I will most likely respond back.
Okay.
And depending on how well I think we'll fit together, I'll jump on a call with my agent, or my agent will jump on the call first, and we'll decide from there. And basically it's, do we fit the brand, and does the brand fit us? And from there, if those two questions are yes, then we open up a dialogue and we see what the brand wants from us specifically, and then cater what they want to what we do, and go from there. And we mostly work with brands that are excited about pickleball and are trusting enough in me to do what I do on my side. We'll have brands that come in and say, how much are you going to sell? And I'm like, I'm not your salesman. You have salesmen in your company already. What I do is I create content, I create brand awareness, and I'm a hype man for the brand. And then your sales guys take it from there.
Sure. Great. Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Go to Drew.
Drew, finally. Best for last.
Best for last.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
So tell us how you got the idea to do pickleball pop-ups. Like I say, I'd never thought of it a couple years ago, right? But you saw a need and went out there, or you said this would be fun and went out there?
So the Pickleball House was created from my experience in international sports. So I've worked at the Olympics, I've worked around the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star, and saw all these major events that have satellite events going on. And a very common term for those satellite events is the house. So there's the Heineken House. You go to the Olympics right now, there's the USA House. There's a Red Bull House. There's the Nike House of Athletes. There's the Adidas House. So when I got the pickleballhouse.com domain, I couldn't sleep because I knew what kind of property it could be. And I went after these larger event properties of the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the F1, US Open, and a lot of people that are playing pickleball are athletes, celebrities, and executives. And I know Brad talked about this as well. He couldn't golf. And I got in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it again. But I'm playing pickleball because I can't golf for shit. So I was a college baseball player, can't golf, always had a spray in my swing, and I got into pickleball and came across that and saw that around these major events, people want to shake hands and they want to network, and they don't have 4 to 5 hours to spend out on a golf course, and they want to be in the middle of the action. And what pop-up pickleball can do, and I mean, look, we're in the middle of downtown Kansas City in a convention center, and we're playing pickleball. We have 70 courts in a convention center. And so I think the opportunity is there. I went on, and every city that would have a major event, Super Bowl, F1, I'd look at Miami, I'd look at Phoenix, I'd look at Vegas, and my goal was to bring pickleball to the coolest places in the city, pop-up wise, because that's the opportunity we can do now. Is all we need is a hard surface, cement, concrete, asphalt, and no knock to Chicken and Pickle over there, but they are in the coolest spot in Glendale, right in the parking lot of Arizona Cardinals Stadium. So they were in the hottest spot for Super Bowl weekend. But pop-up wise, just the autonomy that you have to be able to bring it to all of these places. This sport is just the accessibility. It's unlike any other. And I also want to pop on partnerships has been a very common term in here. We can't continue to have these pop-ups and events without sponsors. So thank you to all the sponsor. I know Tyson's tapped on a couple, but to the sponsors that are investing in the industry and seeing value in activating in the industry, just thank you for that, because that is supporting the events, these facilities, the continuation of sport. The pickleball industry as a whole cannot sustain without the sponsorships that are involved. So thank you to all the sponsors that are investing in the sport and supporting and continue to grow the sport.
Great. So as a relatively new company getting into pickleball, what would you say has been your biggest challenge to grow the business?
I love that you asked me for that question, because a lot of these other people have been, of course, very successful, and it's awesome to, like, these are people that I look up to as a young entrepreneur in the sport, but I honestly haven't cracked the code yet on monetizing in the sport and trying to figure out those challenges and see. My niche challenge right now for ours has been, because we're bringing together a small, more intimate group for the Pickleball House, being athletes, executives, and being more private focused, is a lot of these brands in the sport want to get to the masses and want to get to as many people as possible. So that's been a challenge to say, okay, yes, we're only bringing together 250 people, 300 people in a private, intimate experience, versus they want to get the foot traffic. They want to get all the masses involved. They want to have these larger social media following. So maybe I need to have Tyson in my celebrity showcase, or a celebrity and athlete showcase at the Pickleball House, or have Tyson put together a team to join our Pickleball House tour, and let's go to F1, let's go to Super Bowl, and yeah.
Take Angel with you too.
All right, Angel, yeah. So yeah, I'm as a challenge, I think the biggest challenge has been still trying to crack that code on monetizing and being in hustle and grind mode as a young entrepreneur, and learning from those that are here on the panel with me and that have proven in other industries and have brought that to pickleball.
So you've been involved in a couple cool events already. Is there one that stands out that you would love to do that you haven't done yet? How can we help you get?
The biggest opportunity, I think, is the international side, and it was a big miss not being in Paris this week at the Olympics. And I think pickleball still has another 16 years before it can get into the Olympics, but I was out in Paris in March scoping out venues, found a venue that was 5 minutes away from Roland Garros, where Carlos Alcaraz and Nadal and Djokovic were on the court. But I think that was a big miss. But dream-wise, I think being around these international events, because right now we're getting beat by Padel on the international side. But I think accessibility-wise, I mean, we all know that all you need is a ball, a paddle, a net, and a hard surface to play on. And I think there's a huge opportunity to grow the game internationally. Accessibility-wise, you could play from 4 years old to 96 or 100 years old. So yeah, I think that's my dream, is to be at these biggest global stages. So LA is on my radar. Milan Cortina in 2026 Olympics is something I'm looking forward to as well. But I'll shut up now because I've been talking too long.
No, it's great. It's great to have somebody on the panel that admits that they're still refining their business model and trying to figure out what that secret sauce is and be able to go with it. And not to harp on a broken record, but finding a partner, a mentor, or whatever that will help you identify how can you get into those, or how can you do a tweak to your business model that'll really make it take off. And there's great people up here you guys can talk to. There's a lot of other people in the industry. Take some of the paddle manufacturers. before Gamma, before Selkirk, and before Paddletech came into the industry, they were calling me up and asking me questions about the pickleball industry and where were the opportunities and how could they be successful. So, you know, we want to be able to pay forward what we've learned in our experience in growing pickleball businesses and help you. You mentioned international. I'll just throw out, I forecast that the number of pickleball players, pickleball participation will exceed tennis in 2027. And the three areas in pickleball that we still have to see a lot of growth in, and this means opportunities, one is international, right? And here I've been telling people the English Open, Pickleball Open is happening this week. 2 years ago, they had 430 participants. Last year, they had 1,200 participants. This year they've got 2,000 participants. That's the third largest individual tournament I'm aware of after the US Open and Nationals. You know, so that's huge. International is big. Collegiate and high school is another area. You look at tennis and how big collegiate and high school tennis market is and how much money is there. There's very little going on in pickleball right now. So that's a huge opportunity. And then the new facilities coming in, and particularly through the franchises, but through other facilities like Chicken and Pickle and the independents, we're going to have 20,000 more indoor courts than we do today in 5 years. That is huge. I consider an indoor court to be worth 2 outdoor courts. So it's really 40 courts because you can play in any weather and you can play in the morning and you can play at night. You don't have to worry about neighbors complaining about noise, etc. So the future of pickleball is bright, and you know, I encourage you guys to explore and be innovative and get out there. Now I'll open it up for a couple questions if you guys have questions and want to take advantage of these guys' knowledge. Anybody have a question? Dan has something to say. Okay, he's a politician, so he wants to talk and tell us something.
The king of unsolicited advice right here, Dan Beeman. I've got opinions about everything, and I did a couple of recaps. One thing I would say to you guys is it relates to monetizing pickleball. Have a long-term view, but a short-term sense of urgency. So have that urgency now to get things done, but be patient with yourself and your brand on the long-term perspective. Our goal when we started our Pickleball Travel Club was we're going to be free. Eventually, we're going to charge a fee for a different level, but we're going to grow our club and deliver value with exclusive discounts and with Pickleball Travel Magazine to provide people with valuable content for free to grow our audience and grow our relationship with our audience. So as it relates to you guys and monetizing whatever it is you're doing in the pickleball space, have that short-term sense of urgency, but be patient with yourself in the long term.
I'll challenge people here because I know people are always looking for opportunities. If you can crack the code on how to translate to viewership, that is one of the biggest struggles of the sport right now. If you were to look at a game on TV, it looks great, singles, doubles. When you see it in person close up, you don't have a clue of how fast that ball moves. If you can translate that to viewership, you'll crack the code. And I think there's a lot of opportunities. We have some ideas we're working on, but I'll plant that seed so you can think of how can I translate this to people viewing the sport. If you can get people to view this, this is going to grow even faster than it already is.